Not long ago, I was reading the spiritual rules of St. Ignatius of Loyola. And one of the things that really struck me was this kind of overarching principle. And the overarching principle is that we must be aware, that we must become aware of what we're thinking and feeling and doing. Simply to be aware, to be awake, to be aware of what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, what we're feeling, and what are we doing? That awareness is not as easy as it may sound. We can sleepwalk through life, if you will, and things can just kind of happen in a routine, or we see and we don't understand. And Jesus is saying to us that we have to use our capacity to be aware. And St. Ignatius' second point was, once we're aware, we must seek to understand. Why do I feel this way? Why is this happening? Why am I doing the things that I do? So to be aware and then seek to understand the world we live in, to understand the church we live in, to understand our own habits and moods and dispositions. So first, be aware. Second, understand. And then the third, to take action, to modify our environment, our reactions, our what we're surrounded by and what we're doing to the degree that we can. And if we can't change things, we have the old the prayer from Alcoholics Anonymous, the Serenity Prayer, right? To understand the things that we can change and change them, and to know the difference between what we can do and what we can't. So Jesus is telling in the gospel today, you can predict the weather, can't you? And can't we predict the weather now pretty well? I mean, pretty well, I was doing a tracking of Hurricane Ian, and from the first time they put the track out, now it wobbled back and forth a couple times, but it almost hit exactly where they said it was going to hit. Like 10 days later, something. We're pretty good at that, aren't we? As a culture, as a people. But what about the other things that are happening? What about the collapse of the family? What about school shootings? Why do we have school shootings? Too many guns, right? From what I understand, back in the day, kids used to bring their guns to school so they would go hunting on their way home from school. Like they had a gun rack. I don't know if it's the guns as much as it is the collapse of life. We have no respect for life, for our own life or for others' lives. Now, granted, again, this isn't about gun control. This is about what's happening. Take some time. What's happening in the world? What's happening in my family? What's happening in my life? Am I even aware? Do I understand? And now what do I have to do? Because Jesus is pretty clear that we have our role to play. And so when we see a cloud rising in the west, we know it's going to rain. You hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. Why don't you know how to interpret these times? So, speaking to myself first and foremost, I have to become aware. I have to seek to understand why. And then I have to live my life according to the gospel. So, my brothers and sisters, let's pray that we are not like the hypocrites who should know what's happening but don't.